Danny Walsh wiped the sweat from his forehead as he worked on the water filtration system in Haven City. The sun was hot on the planet New Terra, and the machines needed constant fixing. He had been working as an engineer on this new world for 6 months now. Every day brought new problems to solve, but Danny liked fixing things. It made him feel useful in this strange place so far from Earth. The colony ship USS Horizon had brought 50,000 people to New Terra. They came to build a new life among the stars. Danny remembered the excitement when they first landed. Everyone talked about the fresh start they would have. The planet had clean air, good soil for farming, and plenty of space for everyone. Lisa Martinez ran the colony as the administrator. She was a smart woman who worked hard to keep everyone safe and happy. She made sure the food was shared fairly, and that everyone had a job to do. Lisa often visited Danny in the engineering section because she knew how important his work was. Jake Patterson was in charge of security for the colony. He was a big man with strong arms who used to be a soldier back on Earth. Jake worried about keeping everyone safe. He set up cameras around the city and trained some of the colonists to use weapons. Danny thought Jake worried too much, but he respected the man's dedication. The colony had grown quickly in 6 months. They built homes, schools, and shops. Children played in the streets while their parents worked in the fields or the factories. It felt like a real town now, not just a camp of refugees from Earth. Danny loved watching the sunset over Haven City each evening. The sky turned purple and orange in ways it never did back home. On the morning everything changed, Danny was fixing a broken pump when the alarms started ringing. He looked up from his work and saw people running in the streets. Some were screaming. Others just stood still and stared at the sky with their mouths open. Danny ran outside and looked up. Giant ships hung in the air above the city. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. The ships were dark and covered with sharp edges that looked like weapons. They blocked out the sun and cast shadows over the entire colony. Lisa Martinez's voice came over the speakers throughout the city. "Everyone stay calm," she said. "We have visitors from space. Please go to your homes and wait for more information." But Danny could hear the fear in her voice. These were not friendly visitors coming to say hello. These were warships, and they meant trouble. Jake Patterson ran through the streets with his security team. They carried their weapons and looked ready for a fight. But Danny knew their small guns would be useless against ships that big. If these aliens wanted to hurt them, there was nothing the colonists could do to stop them. A message came from the alien ships. It was translated by the colony's computers, but the voice sounded strange and harsh. "Humans of this world," it said. "You have taken what belongs to the Karathi Empire. You will leave this planet now or face destruction." Danny's heart sank. He had helped build this colony. They had worked so hard to make it a home. Now strangers from space were telling them to leave. It did not seem fair. Lisa Martinez decided to meet with the aliens. She was brave, but Danny could see she was scared too. She chose Peter Johnson to go with her. Peter was a diplomat who knew how to talk to important people. He had smooth words and a calm manner that made people trust. They met the aliens in the big conference room at the center of Haven City. Danny watched from outside through the windows. The aliens were huge, much bigger than any human. They stood 12 feet tall and had 4 arms each. Their skin looked like armor, hard and dark. They moved like soldiers who were ready for war. Leader of the aliens was called Takmor the Destroyer. Even his name sounded dangerous. He had scars on his face and arms that showed he had fought many battles. His eyes were cold and showed no kindness. Peter Johnson tried to be polite. He explained that the humans did not know this planet belonged to anyone. They had traveled far from their home world looking for a place to live in peace. He said they would be happy to share the planet or find somewhere else to go. But when Peter held out his hand to shake hands with Takmor, everything went wrong. The alien leader stepped back and made a sound like an angry animal. The other aliens pulled out weapons that glowed with dangerous light. "You challenge me to combat," Takmor said in his harsh voice. "Your species seeks war." Peter tried to explain that shaking hands was how humans said hello. It was not a challenge or threat. But the aliens did not listen. They thought the humans were trying to start a fight. The meeting turned into chaos. The aliens pushed Peter to the ground. One of them hit Lisa Martinez with the back of his hand, and she fell hard against the wall. Jake Patterson and his security team rushed in with their guns, but the aliens were faster and stronger. The shooting started before anyone could stop it. The aliens' weapons were much more powerful than human guns. 3 security officers died. In the first few seconds, Jake Patterson was hurt badly but kept fighting. He tried to protect Lisa Martinez as she helped Peter Johnson get away. Danny watched in horror as the aliens walked out of the building. They moved slowly, like they were not worried about the human weapons at all. Thackamore looked around the colony with cold eyes as if he was deciding how to destroy it. "You have 1 day to leave this world," the alien leader announced. "If you are still here tomorrow, we will burn your city and everyone in it." The aliens went back to their ships, leaving the colonists in panic. People ran through the streets crying and screaming. Some tried to pack their belongings. Others just sat down and gave up hope. Lisa Martinez was hurt, but still alive. Jake Patterson had to go to the hospital, but he would recover. Peter Johnson was shaken, but not injured. They met in the emergency command center to decide what to do. "We have to evacuate," Peter said. "We cannot fight them. They are too strong." "Where will we go?" Lisa asked. "The USS Horizon used most of its fuel getting here. We cannot make it back to Earth." "We could try to find another planet," Peter suggested. But Danny knew it would take years to find a new home. Many people would die during the long journey. The children and old people might not survive. And even if they found another world, what would stop the aliens from taking that one too? As night fell over Haven City, Danny sat alone in his workshop. He looked at the tools he used to fix things and build new machines. His whole life, he had been good at solving problems. But this problem seemed too big for anyone to solve. The alien ships hung in the sky like dark clouds. Their lights blinked on and off like angry eyes watching the colony. Danny knew that tomorrow they would attack if the humans were still there. Most people in the colony were getting ready to leave. They packed food and clothes into the transport ships. Families said goodbye to the homes they had built. Children cried because they did not understand why they had to go. But Danny had a different idea. It was dangerous and probably stupid, but he could not stop thinking about it. The aliens thought humans wanted to fight because of the misunderstanding with the handshake. What if someone could explain that it was all a mistake? What if someone could show them that humans were not warriors, but builders and friends? Danny looked at the small maintenance shuttle in his workshop. It was not much of a ship, just something used to fix broken equipment outside the colony, but it could fly, and it had a radio. As the colony prepared for evacuation, Danny made a choice that would change everything. He was just one small human, but sometimes one person could make a difference, even if that person was scared and not sure what to do. The alien ships waited in the darkness above, ready to destroy everything the colonists had built. But Danny Walsh, the quiet engineer who fixed broken things, was about to try fixing the biggest problem of all. Danny walked quietly through the dark streets of Haven City. Most people were asleep, but he could see lights in many windows. Families were packing their things and getting ready to leave their homes forever. Children were crying, and parents were trying to comfort them. The whole colony felt like a place where someone had died. The maintenance shuttle sat in Danny's workshop like a small metal bird. It was not meant for long trips or dangerous missions. Danny used it to fix broken satellites and repair communication towers. The shuttle had just enough fuel to reach the alien ships in orbit, but probably not enough to come back. Danny packed a small bag with some food and water. He also took pictures of his family back on Earth and some tools he might need. His hands shook as he worked. He was scared, but he could not let fear stop him. Someone had to try to fix this terrible mistake. As he prepared the shuttle for flight, Danny thought about his sister Kate back on Earth. She always said he was too quiet and should speak up more. Kate would be proud of him now, even if she would also think he was crazy. Danny smiled a little, thinking about what she would say about her shy brother flying alone toward alien warships. The shuttle's engines started with a soft hum. Danny had maintained this machine for months and knew every sound it made. Tonight it would have to work perfectly, or he would die in the cold darkness of space. He checked all the systems twice to make sure everything was ready. Danny sent one last message to Lisa Martinez before he left. He explained what he was going to try to do. He told her not to blame herself if it did not work. The colony needed strong leaders like her, and she should not feel guilty about his choice. The shuttle lifted off quietly in the middle of the night. Danny kept the engines low so no one would hear him leave. He did not want Jake Patterson or anyone else to try to stop him. This was something he had to do alone. As the shuttle climbed higher, Danny could see the whole colony spread out below him. The lights of Haven City looked small and fragile against the dark landscape. All those people sleeping down there were counting on him, even though they did not know it yet. The alien ships grew larger as Danny flew toward them. Up close, they were even more frightening than they looked from the ground. The biggest ship was as long as the entire colony. Its surface was covered with weapons and armor that could destroy 1,000 cities. Danny turned on his radio and broadcast on all frequencies. His voice was shaky, but he tried to sound brave. "This is Danny Walsh from the human colony," he said. "I'm coming to your ship alone. I want to talk about peace. Please do not shoot me." For a long time there was no answer. Danny kept flying toward the massive ship, expecting to be destroyed at any moment. His small shuttle looked like a tiny insect next to the alien warship. Then a voice spoke over the radio. It was harsh and difficult to understand, but the computer translated it. "Human vessel, you will be captured. Any attempt to escape or attack will result in your death." Danny felt relief wash over him. They were not going to kill him right away. At least he would have a chance to explain the misunderstanding. A bright beam of light shot out from the alien ship and surrounded Danny's shuttle. He could not control the ship anymore. The beam pulled him toward an opening in the side of the warship. Danny tried to stay calm as his shuttle was dragged inside. The inside of the alien ship was huge and dark. Strange lights blinked along the walls, and the air smelled different from what Danny was used to. His shuttle was placed in what looked like a cargo bay filled with other captured ships from different worlds. Heavy footsteps echoed in the bay as the aliens approached. Danny opened his shuttle door and stepped out with his hands raised to show he was not armed. The aliens were even bigger than he expected. Their armor-like skin was dark gray, and their forearms ended in hands that could crush a human easily. 6 alien warriors surrounded Danny with weapons pointed at him. They marched him through long corridors filled with strange machines and blinking lights. Other aliens stopped their work to stare at the small human walking among them. Danny had never felt so tiny and helpless in his life. They brought him to a large room with a high ceiling. At the center sat the biggest alien Danny had ever seen. This one was at least 15 feet tall, much larger than the others. His skin was covered with old scars that told stories of many battles. Ancient weapons hung from his belt, and his eyes were the color of deep space. "I am Karthok," the giant alien said in a voice like rolling thunder. "Why does a small human come alone? To our ship? Are you here to spy on us before you attack?" Danny's voice was small compared to the aliens, but he spoke as clearly as he could. "My name is Danny Walsh. I came to explain that we made a mistake. When my friend Peter tried to shake hands with your leader, he was not challenging anyone to fight. Humans shake hands to be friendly and show respect." Karthok leaned forward in his chair. His huge eyes studied Danny like he was looking at a strange new type of machine. "You came here alone to tell us this? With no weapons and no army behind you?" "Yes," Danny said. "I know you could kill me easily, but I had to try. My people are not warriors. We are builders and farmers and engineers. We just want to live in peace on New Terra." The other aliens in the room made sounds like angry animals. One of them, who wore more decorations than the others, stepped forward. "Lord Karthok, this human lies. Their security forces attacked us with weapons." "That is Vextar, my war commander," Karthok explained to Danny. "He thinks all humans are dangerous and should be destroyed." Danny felt sweat running down his back, but he kept talking. "Your war commander is right that our security people shot at you. But that only happened after the misunderstanding with the handshake. Jake Patterson and his team thought you were going to hurt our leaders. Karthok was quiet for a long moment. The other aliens whispered among themselves, but Danny could not understand what they were saying. Finally, the giant warrior spoke, again. "You show courage coming here alone," Karthok said. "But courage can be found in both warriors and fools. How do I know which one you are?" Danny reached slowly into his bag and pulled out the pictures of his family. He held them up so Karthok could see. "These are my parents and my sister Kate back on Earth. My father is a teacher, and my mother works in a hospital helping sick people. My sister studies music and plays the piano." He showed another picture of children playing in Haven City. "These are some of the kids in our colony. They like to play games and learn about the plants and animals on New Terra. Do they look like warriors to you?" Karthok took the pictures in one of his massive hands. He looked at them carefully, studying the faces of Danny's family. The other aliens moved closer to see the pictures too. "Your people are very small," Karthok observed. "And these young ones have no weapons or armor." "We are small," Danny agreed. "And most of us have never fought in a war. We came to New Terra to build homes and grow food and raise our children. We did not know the planet belonged to your empire." Vextar made an angry sound. "Lord Karthok, this human speaks pretty words, but humans are known to be cunning. They may be small, but they could be dangerous in other ways." "Perhaps," Karthok said. "But this one interests me." He looked directly at Danny. "You flew alone to my ship knowing you would probably die. Why did you take such a risk for people who are not even your family?" Danny thought about the question. It was not easy to explain why he felt responsible for the whole colony. "They are my people," he said finally. "When you live and work with others, they become like family too. I fix the machines that give them clean water and power for their homes. If I can fix machines, maybe I can help fix this problem too." The giant alien was quiet again. The room was so silent that Danny could hear his own heart beating. He wondered if these would be the last words he ever spoke. Then Karthok did something unexpected. He stood up and walked over to where Danny was standing. The human only came up to the alien's knee. Karthok could have stepped on Danny like a bug, but instead he knelt down so they were closer to the same height. "I invoke the right of the curious," Karthok announced to the other aliens. "This human has shown unusual bravery. I claim him as my prisoner to study and learn from." Vextar started to protest, but Karthok raised one of his hands for silence. "It is my right as a battle lord. The human will be kept alive and treated according to our laws." Danny did not understand what this meant, but it sounded better than being killed immediately. A guard came forward and put metal bands around Danny's wrists. They were heavy but not tight enough to hurt him. "You will have a cell on my ship," Karthok told Danny. "We will talk more about your people and their ways. Perhaps you can teach me about this human custom of shaking hands." As the guards led Danny away, he looked back at the giant alien warrior. Karthok was still holding the pictures of Danny's family. For just a moment, the alien's fierce expression seemed to soften as he looked at the image of Danny's sister playing piano. Danny did not know what would happen next, but at least he was still alive. And maybe, just maybe, he had found a way to save his people. Danny's cell was small but not uncomfortable. The walls were made of smooth metal, and there was a bed that was too big for him but soft enough to sleep on. A small window showed the stars outside and the planet New Terra far below. He could see the lights of Haven City like tiny sparks in the darkness. For the first few days, Danny was alone, except when guards brought him food. The alien food was strange but not bad. It tasted like vegetables mixed with something that reminded him of chicken. He ate slowly and tried to stay strong. On the fourth day, Karthok came to visit him. The giant alien had to bend down to fit through the doorway. In the small cell, he looked even more enormous. Danny felt like a mouse sitting next to a bear. "How are you feeling, small human?" Karthok asked. His voice was still deep and powerful, but it did not sound as angry as before. "I am well, thank you," Danny replied. "The food is good and the bed is comfortable." Karthok sat down on the floor so he would not tower over Danny so much. Even sitting, he was still much taller than the human. "Tell me about your world," the alien said. "What is Earth like?" Danny spent the next hour describing his home planet. He talked about the blue oceans and green forests. He explained how humans lived in cities and towns, how they grew crops and built machines. He told Karthok about music and art, about books and movies that told stories. The giant alien listened carefully to every word. Sometimes he asked questions about things he did not understand. "Your people make pictures that move and tell stories?" he asked when Danny mentioned movies. "Yes," Danny said. "We like to watch stories about heroes and adventures. Some are funny, some are sad, and some are exciting." "The Karathi do not have such things," Karthok said quietly. "We have only stories of battles and conquests." As the days passed, Karthok visited Danny more often. The alien seemed hungry for stories about human life. Danny told him about his sister Kate's piano music, about his father teaching children in school, about his mother helping sick people get better. "Your family sounds peaceful," Karthok observed one day. "Do they ever fight?" "Sometimes Kate and I would argue when we were young," Danny said with a smile. "But we always made up afterward. Fighting with family makes you feel bad inside." Karthok was quiet for a long time after that. Finally, he said, "I have not seen my birth family for 300 years. They died in the wars when I was young." Danny felt sorry for the giant alien. 300 years was a very long time to be alone. "Do you have friends among the other Karathi?" he asked. "Warriors do not have friends," Karthok replied. "We have commanders and soldiers who follow orders. To show friendship is to show weakness." "That sounds lonely," Danny said. "It is," Karthok admitted, and Danny was surprised by the sadness in his voice. During their talks, Karthok began teaching Danny about Karathi history. The aliens had not always been warriors, he explained. Long ago, they were builders and farmers, much like humans. They lived on a beautiful world with purple skies and silver seas. "What happened to change them?" Danny asked. Karthok's expression grew dark. "The Devourers came," he said. "They were a race that ate entire planets. They turned our world into a wasteland and killed most of my people. The few who survived learned that only the strong could live in this galaxy. We became warriors to survive." "But the Devourers are gone now?" Danny asked. "Yes, we destroyed them long ago. But by then, war was all we knew. We conquered other worlds because we were afraid someone else would conquer us first." Karthok looked out the small window at the stars. "We have been fighting for so long that we forgot how to do anything else." Danny began to understand why the Karathi were so quick to see enemies everywhere. They had been hurt badly and never learned to trust again. "Not everyone in the galaxy wants to hurt you," he said gently. "How can you be sure?" Karthok asked. "Because I am here talking to you instead of trying to escape or attack you," Danny replied. "If humans wanted to fight the Karathi, would I have come alone to your ship?" Karthok considered this. "Perhaps not. But Vextar and the other commanders think you are here to spy on us." "Then let me prove I am not a spy," Danny said. "Ask me anything about human weapons or defenses. I will tell you the truth." So Karthok asked, and Danny answered honestly. He explained that the colony had only basic defensive weapons. He told the alien about Jake Patterson's small security force and their simple guns. He even drew pictures showing how the colony was built and where the important buildings were located. "You give me information that could help us destroy your people," Karthok said. "Why do you do this?" "Because I trust you," Danny replied. "And I hope that if I show you trust, you might trust me too." The giant alien stared at Danny for a long moment. "You are very strange, small human. In all my years of war, no enemy has ever said they trusted me." "Maybe that is because I am not your enemy," Danny said. Meanwhile, down on New Terra, the situation was getting worse. More human ships had arrived from Earth carrying soldiers and weapons. Commander Amy Rodriguez led the new fleet. She was a tough woman who had fought in many battles. Amy did not believe in talking with aliens. She thought all aliens were dangerous and should be destroyed before they could hurt humans. Lisa Martinez tried to convince Amy to be patient. "We should wait and see if Danny can make peace with them," she said. "Danny Walsh is either dead or has become a traitor." Amy replied coldly. I will not risk the lives of 50,000 colonists because of one foolish engineer. Amy ordered her ships to surround the planet and prepare for battle. She gave the Karathi one day to leave or face attack from human warships. Up on the Karathi flagship, Vextar was also preparing for war. He did not trust the humans and wanted to destroy their colony before they could attack. Lord Karthok, he said, we should strike first while we have the advantage. But Karthok was not sure anymore. His talks with Danny had made him question whether humans were really enemies. Wait one more day, he ordered. I want to learn more about these humans. Vextar was angry but had to obey. However, he began planning with other Karathi commanders. They thought Karthok was becoming weak because of his friendship with the human prisoner. During this tense time, other aliens noticed what was happening near New Terra. Scout ships from the Zephyrian Confederation watched from a distance. The Zephyrians were old enemies of the Karathi Empire. Their leader, Admiral Nixara, saw a chance to cause trouble. If the humans and Karathi fight each other, both will be weakened, she told her officers. Then we can move in and take control of this region of space. Nixara ordered her ships to stay hidden but ready to attack. She wanted the war to happen, and she was willing to help it start if necessary. Back in his cell, Danny did not know about the growing danger. He continued his daily talks with Karthok. The giant alien was learning to speak human languages better, and Danny was picking up some Karathi words. One day, Karthok brought something special to show Danny. It was an old book made of metal, pages covered with alien writing. This belonged to my grandfather, he said. It contains stories from before the wars. Danny looked at the strange symbols on the pages. What kind of stories? Stories about building cities and growing food. Stories about Karathi who explored the stars to find new worlds to live on, not to conquer. Karthok's voice was soft as he turned the pages. My grandfather used to read these to me when I was very young. They sound like the stories humans tell, Danny said. Yes, Karthok agreed. Perhaps our peoples are not so different after all. But outside, the two fleets faced each other across the darkness of space. Human and Karathi warships prepared their weapons and waited for orders to attack. Time was running out for peace, and neither Danny nor Karthok knew how close their worlds were to war. The friendship between a small human engineer and a giant alien warrior was growing stronger each day. But would it be strong enough to stop a battle that could destroy everything they both cared about? The alarm bells started ringing throughout the Karathi flagship, just as Danny and Karthok were sharing their morning meal. The giant alien jumped to his feet so quickly that he almost hit his head on the ceiling. His peaceful expression changed to that of a warrior ready for battle. What is happening? Danny asked, feeling fear creep into his stomach. Karthok listened to the voices speaking in rapid Karathi over the ship's communication system. His face grew dark with anger. One of our patrol ships has been attacked. 3 Karathi warriors are dead. Danny felt his heart sink. If Karathi soldiers were dead, there would be no more talk of peace. Both sides would want revenge, and war would be impossible to stop. Vextar burst into the cell without asking permission. His forearms carried weapons, and his eyes burned with rage. Lord Karthok, the humans have shown their true nature. They attacked our patrol ship with hidden weapons. We must destroy their colony immediately. Wait, Danny said quickly. Our people would not attack your ships. There must be some mistake. Vextar turned his angry gaze on Danny. Silence, human spy. Your words of peace were lies to make us weak, while your people prepared for war. But Karthok held up one massive hand. Show me the evidence, Vextar. I want to see proof of what happened. They went to the command center where Karthok allowed Danny to come with them under heavy guard. The main screen showed pictures from the attacked patrol ship. Danny saw the twisted metal and burn marks from powerful weapons. It looked terrible, and he felt sick knowing that people had died. The attack came from the direction of the human colony, Vextar explained. Our sensors detected human weapon signatures. Danny studied the images carefully. Something looked wrong to him, but he could not figure out what it was. The damage was too clean, too precise. It reminded him of something, but he could not remember. What Commander Amy Rodriguez's voice came over the radio from the human fleet. Her tone was cold and angry. Karathi ships, we know you attacked our supply convoy near the outer moon. 2 human transport ships are missing. If you do not return our people immediately, we will consider this an act of war. Karthok looked confused. We did not attack any human ships. Our patrol was destroyed while investigating strange readings near the asteroid field. Danny felt a chill run down his spine. Both sides were blaming each other for attacks that neither had made. Someone else was causing the violence, but who? Lord Karthok, Danny said carefully. May I ask where exactly your patrol ship was? Attacked? Vextar started to object, but Karthok silenced him. Near the asteroid field between here and the outer moon. And the human convoy that was attacked was also near the outer moon, Danny said, thinking hard. What if neither of our peoples did these attacks? What if someone else wants us to fight each other? Impossible, Vextar snarled. There are no other ships in this system. But Karthok was listening. Show me the sensor readings from both. Attacks, he ordered. As they studied the data, Danny noticed something strange. Look at these energy patterns, he said, pointing to the screen. They are similar to Karathi weapons, but not exactly the same. And here, in the human attack, the weapon signatures look like ours, but with small differences. Karthok's eyes narrowed as he examined the evidence. You think someone is using copies of our weapons to make us blame each other? Yes, Danny said. Someone who benefits if humans and Karathi go to war. Before anyone could respond, another alarm sounded. This time the attack was happening right now. On the main screen, they could see explosions on one of the human ships in orbit around New Terra. The humans are attacking us, Vextar shouted. All ships, return fire immediately. No, wait, Karthok commanded. I want to see where those shots are really coming from. The ship's sensors focused on the battle. At first, it looked like the human ships were firing on the Karathi fleet. But then Danny saw something that made his blood run cold. There, he pointed to a section of empty space near the fighting. Look at that area with your best sensors. Karthok ordered maximum sensor power focused on the spot Danny indicated. Slowly, the image of hidden ships began to appear on the screen. They were using some kind of invisible shield that made them hard to see. Zephyrian ships, Karthok said in a voice like thunder. They have been causing the attacks. The Zephyrians were old enemies of the Karathi Empire. Danny learned that they had been fighting for hundreds of years over control of star systems and trade routes. Admiral Nixara, the Zephyrian leader, was known for her clever tricks and dirty fighting. She wants us to destroy each other, Karthok realized. While we fight the humans, the Zephyrians can take control of this region of space. But Vexitar was not convinced. This could be a human trick, he argued. How do we know the small human did not help them plan this? Danny felt anger rise in his chest. After all the trust he and Karthok had built, Vexitar still thought he was a spy. If I was working with the Zephyrians, why would I point out their ships to you? To gain our trust before betraying us, Vexitar replied. The argument was interrupted by another attack. This time, the Zephyrian ships dropped their invisibility shields and fired openly at both the human and Karathi fleets. Their weapons were powerful and advanced, causing serious damage to several ships. All ships, this is Commander Rodriguez, came the human voice over the radio. We are under attack by unknown vessels. Karathi fleet, we request immediate assistance. Amy, Rodriguez was asking the Karathi for help. She had realized that they were not the ones attacking her ships. But would the Karathi believe her and fight alongside the humans? Vextar looked uncertain for the first time since Danny had met him. Lord Karthok, what are your orders? Karthok stared at the battle on the main screen. Human and Karathi, ships were being destroyed by Zephyrian weapons. People from both sides were dying while the real enemy laughed at their success. Danny Walsh, Karthok said, turning to face the small human. You have been right about everything so far. What do you think we should do? Danny felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. The decision he made now could save both fleets or lead to disaster. He thought about the families in Haven City, about the Karathi warriors who just wanted to go home, about the Zephyrians who were using their hatred to destroy both peoples. Help the humans fight the Zephyrians, Danny said clearly. Show Commander Rodriguez that not all aliens are enemies. Work together to defeat the ones who are really trying to hurt both of our peoples. Karthok nodded slowly. Vextar, signal. All ships, we will fight alongside the humans against the Zephyrian fleet. Vextar looked shocked. Lord Karthok, we have never fought beside other species. The Council will be angry. The Council is not here, Karthok replied firmly. I am, and I make this decision. The Zephyrians have killed our warriors and tried to trick us into destroying innocent humans. They are our real enemies today. As the Karathi ships moved to join the human fleet, Danny felt hope growing in his heart. But the battle was far from over. The Zephyrians had planned this attack carefully and had more ships than anyone expected. Danny, Karthok said, I want you to help coordinate our attack with the human fleet. You understand both of our technologies. But Lord Karthok, Vextar protested, he is still our prisoner. Karthok looked down at Danny with something that might have been a smile. No, he is not. Danny Walsh, you are free to go back to your people if you wish, but I hope you will stay and help us fight together. Danny looked at the giant alien warrior who had become his friend. I will stay and help, he said. But after this battle, I want to go back to New Terra and tell my people what I have learned about the Karathi. Agreed, Karthok said. But first we have a war to win. The combined human and Karathi fleets moved into battle formation. For the first time in galactic history, the two species were fighting side by side instead of against each other. And, in the command center of the Karathi flagship, a small human engineer worked alongside a giant alien warrior to coordinate their attacks against their common enemy. But the Zephyrians were not finished with their tricks. Admiral Nixara had one, more surprise that could destroy everything Danny and Karthok had worked to build. The battle was not going well for the combined human and Karathi fleet. Admiral Nixara's Zephyrian ships were faster and had better weapons than anyone expected. They moved like deadly dancers through space, striking hard and then disappearing, before the Allied forces could fight back. Danny worked frantically at the communication station, trying to help coordinate attacks between the human and Karathi ships. It was difficult because the two fleets used different languages and fighting methods. Human ships were smaller and quicker, while Karathi vessels were heavily armored, but slower to turn. Tell Commander Rodriguez to move her ships to the left, while we attack from the right, Karthok ordered. Danny translated the message and sent it to the human fleet. But before the maneuver could be completed, the Zephyrians launched a surprise attack on the Karathi flagship itself. The ship shook violently as enemy weapons hit the hull. Lights flickered and Danny had to grab onto his chair to keep from falling. Sparks flew from damaged control panels and he could smell smoke in the air. They are targeting our main engines, Vextar reported. If they destroy our power systems, we will be helpless. Karthok's face was grim. How many enemy ships are attacking us? 6 Zephyrian cruisers, came the reply. They are too fast for our weapons to lock onto them. Danny looked at the tactical display and saw something that made his heart race. The attacking ships were heading straight for the flagship's engineering section. If they damaged the main reactor, the explosion would destroy not only the Karathi command ship, but also several human vessels nearby. Karthok, Danny said urgently. I need to get to your engineering section. I might be able to help fix the damage. The giant alien looked down at him with surprise. You would risk your life to save a Karathi ship? I would risk my life to save everyone on this ship, Danny replied. Human Karathi, it does not matter. We are all fighting together now. Karthok nodded and assigned 2 guards to escort Danny through the damaged corridors. As they ran toward the engineering section, the ship shook again from more enemy fire. Danny could hear the hull creaking under the stress of battle. When they reached engineering, Danny saw that the situation was worse than he thought. The main power conduits were severely damaged and strange purple energy was leaking from the reactor core. The Karathi engineers were trying to fix the problems, but their technology was different from what Danny was used to. Let me help, Danny said to the chief engineer, a female Karathi named Tekara. She was smaller than the warriors, but still twice Danny's size. "You are too small to work with our systems," she said, not unkindly. "But I am also small enough to get into places you cannot reach," Danny pointed out. "Show me what needs to be fixed." Tekara hesitated, then pointed to a narrow crawl space between two massive machines. "The primary coupling is damaged in there. We cannot fit through the opening to repair it." Danny looked at the tight space. It would be dangerous to crawl in there while the ship was under attack, but someone had to try. "Give me your tools and tell me what to do." As Danny squeezed into the cramped space between the machines, he could hear the battle continuing outside. The ship's weapons were firing back at the Zephyrians, but they were not hitting their fast-moving targets. Working by feel in the darkness, Danny found the damaged coupling. It was a complex piece of technology that connected different parts of the ship's power system. The Zephyrian weapons had melted part of it, and purple energy was crackling dangerously around the broken sections. "I found the problem," Danny called out to Tekara. "But I need you to shut down power to this section while I work on it." "If we shut down power, our weapons will stop firing," she replied. "If we do not shut it down, the whole ship might explode," Danny said. Tekara made the difficult decision to cut power to that section. The ship's weapons fell silent, leaving them defenseless against the Zephyrian attack. Danny worked as quickly as he could, using his small hands to reconnect the damaged parts and bypass the worst damage. While Danny worked in the dark crawl space, something terrible happened in the command center. A Zephyrian boarding party had broken through the ship's defenses and was fighting their way toward Karthok. These were not ordinary Zephyrian soldiers, but elite assassins sent specifically to kill the Karathi leader. Vextar and his warriors fought bravely to protect their commander, but the Zephyrian assassins were skilled and well-armed. One of them broke through the defensive line and raised a deadly energy weapon toward Karthok's back. The giant Karathi warrior was focused on directing the battle and did not see the danger behind him. The assassin's finger tightened on the trigger, ready to fire the shot that would kill the most famous Karathi leader in the galaxy. But Danny had just finished repairing the power coupling. As the ship's systems came back online, he heard the sounds of fighting from the command center. Without thinking about his own safety, he ran through the corridors toward the battle. Danny reached the command center just as the Zephyrian assassin was about to shoot Karthok. There was no time to shout a warning or call for help. Danny did the only thing he could do. He threw himself between the assassin and his friend. The energy blast hit Danny in the chest, and he felt fire spread through his whole body. The pain was terrible, but worse than the pain was seeing the shocked expression on Karthok's face as Danny fell to the floor. "No," Karthok roared with a voice like thunder. His rage was so great that it seemed to shake the entire ship. The giant warrior turned on the Zephyrian assassin with all four of his arms moving like lightning. The fight was over in seconds. Karthok dropped to his knees beside Danny, carefully lifting the small human in his massive hands. Danny's breathing was shallow, and his skin was pale from the energy weapon's damage. "Why did you do that?" Karthok asked softly. "Why did you take a shot meant for me?" Danny smiled weakly. "Because you are my friend," he said. "And friends protect each other." Tekara and the medical team rushed Danny to the ship's healing chamber. The Karathi had advanced medical technology that could repair damage from energy weapons, but Danny was so small and fragile compared to Karathi that they were not sure it would work on him. While the doctors worked to save Danny's life, something amazing was happening throughout both fleets. The story of the small human who took a blast meant for a giant alien warrior spread quickly over the communication channels. Human and Karathi crews who had been strangers hours before began to see each other differently. Commander Amy Rodriguez spoke to her fleet with new respect in her voice. "The Karathi are not our enemies," she announced. "Today we fight as allies, and we will honor the courage shown by Danny Walsh." The renewed cooperation between the fleets turned the tide of battle. Working together, the human and Karathi ships were able to surround and destroy the Zephyrian forces. Admiral Nixara's flagship was captured, and her plan to start a war between humans and Karathi had failed completely. When Danny woke up in the medical bay 3 days later, the first thing he saw was Karthok sitting beside his bed. The giant, Alien warrior looked tired but relieved. "How do you feel, small friend?" Karthok asked. "Like I was hit by lightning," Danny said with a weak smile. "But I am alive, so that is good. The doctors say you will recover completely," Karthok told him. "Your sacrifice saved not only my life but the lives of everyone in both fleets." Over the following weeks, as Danny recovered from his injuries, representatives from both species worked together to write a peace agreement. They called it the Haven Accords because it was signed in the conference room of Haven City on New Terra. Danny became the first human ambassador to the Karathi Empire. His job was to help both species understand each other better and prevent future conflicts. Karthok gave up his position as a war leader to become a guardian of the peace, working alongside Danny to build bridges between their peoples. The colony on New Terra grew into a symbol of cooperation between humans and Karathi. Children from both species played together in the streets of Haven City. Human engineers worked with Karathi builders to create new technologies. Karathi warriors learned human art and music, while humans studied Karathi history and philosophy. Years later, Danny often walked through the city with his wife Sarah and their young daughter Emma. The little girl loved hearing stories about brave warriors and space battles, but her favorite stories were about friendship and how people who seemed different could become family. One evening, as they watched the sunset over Haven City, they saw Karthok teaching a group of human children how to defend themselves while a group of Karathi youngsters learned to play human games nearby. The giant warrior who had once conquered worlds now found his greatest joy in small moments of peace and understanding. Danny's sister Kate had been right about one thing. Her quiet brother had found his voice after all. But instead of speaking only for himself, he had learned to speak for peace between the stars. His courage to reach out to a giant alien warrior had changed not just 2 lives, but the course of galactic history. The friendship between a small human engineer and a massive Karathi warrior proved that even the greatest differences could be overcome with trust, understanding, and the willingness to see past fear to find the person beneath.